Welcome, fellow travelers, to episode 3 of Pathways Through Romans. Today, we begin our exploration of Paul's letter to the Romans, focusing on the verses 18 through 25 of chapter 1. Prepare to delve into the heart of Paul's message, uncovering the rich theological foundations he lays for understanding wrath, wisdom, and idolatry. Let's begin.
Ever get that feeling? You're swimming in information, scrolling through feeds, but still feel like you're missing something fundamental.
Oh, absolutely. Like you have all the pieces, but not the picture on the docs. That foundational understanding, yeah, it can feel really elusive sometimes.
Well, that's exactly what we want to dig into today on the deep dive. We're looking at a really foundational piece of writing.
A cornerstone text.
Yeah, Romans chapter 1, specifically verses 18 to 25. It's not a long section, but wow, it packs in some huge ideas.
Definitely. Ideas about, well, humanity, divinity, how we even perceive reality.
Right. And we'll be looking closely at the text itself, Romans 1.1825, and also using some helpful explanations we found to really unpack it.
Sort of getting multiple angles on its meaning.
Exactly. So the mission here is to get the core arguments. What's it actually claiming about God, about us? What's it saying about truth?
And hopefully give you a quick but solid grasp of a really confluential text.
Okay, let's jump in then. Verse 18 starts with this phrase, the wrath of God. What's that about? Sounds intense.
It does sound intense, yeah. But the sources we have suggest it's less about, say, impulsive anger and more presented as a kind of consequence.
A consequence for what?
For ungodliness and unrighteousness. And crucially, it's linked to people suppressing the truth.
Suppressing the truth. So it's not just doing wrong things, it's actively pushing down what's true.
That seems to be the key idea. The unrighteousness is the way the truth gets suppressed, which then, according to the text, leads to this divine response. It implies a deliberate choice.
Interesting. Okay, so that leads into the next bit, verses 19 and 20, which tackle that fundamental question, how is God even known? Where is God?
Right, and the claim is pretty bold. It says what can be known about God is, well, plain to them.
Plain? How so?
Because God has shown it to them.
The argument is that creation itself, the world around us, makes it obvious.
It points to God. Yes, specifically mentioning God's invisible attributes. Things like eternal power and divine nature being clearly perceived in everything that's been made.
So, looking at the universe reveals something about its maker. Like an early version of arguing from design, maybe.
You could definitely see it that way, yeah. It suggests the cosmos itself points beyond itself to a creator with these specific qualities.
Now, one of our sources really emphasizes this, saying it answers that where is God question directly. God's revealed in the what, in what's been made.
It also brings up the idea of humans being made in God's image, having dominion. That unique role itself reflects something about God.
Right, like our ability to manage or create reflects the ultimate creator in some small way.
Precisely. So if God's nature is evident in creation, and humans have this special capacity, well, the conclusion in verse 20 is pretty stark.
So they are without excuse.
Exactly, without excuse for not recognizing or acknowledging God based on this revelation in nature.
Okay, so the knowledge is there, it's plain. But then verse 21 hits. Despite knowing God, it says they did not honor him as God or give thanks.
And that's the turning point.
Yeah.
There's a failure in response. It's not just about knowing, it's about honoring.
And the consequence. Their thinking became futile, their foolish hearts were darkened. What does that mean, futile thinking?
Well, one explanation described it as thinking becoming unnatural. Like turning away from the foundational truth skewed their whole reasoning process. They struggled to think, well, straight.
That makes sense. And there was that analogy one source used about how we might easily respect someone powerful.
Right, but maybe ignore someone seen as less important. It highlights a tendency to misplace honor.
And it asks that really pointed question, doesn't it? Are we really honoring God, or are we sort of subtly against him by just not acknowledging him?
It's a challenging thought. It pushes you to look at your own priorities, where your reverence actually goes, which ties into verse 22.
Yes, the paradox. Claiming to be wise, they became fools. How does that work?
It seems counterintuitive, right?
Huh.
But one of our sources immediately connects this to pride.
Pride. As in, thinking you know it all.
Kind of, yeah. The source quotes James, God opposes the proud. The idea is that self-inflated wisdom, detached from acknowledging God, actually leads you away from true understanding. It becomes foolishness.
So thinking you're wise without God actually makes you unwise.
That's the argument. And it prompts that self-check question. Are you taking pride in anything in your life? A call to examine our own potential blind spots.
It's sobering, and the material contrasts this with a different kind of pride, or maybe boasting is a better word, like Paul saying in Galatians he'd only boast in the cross.
Right, suggesting that for Christians, the focus of any pride should be on God's actions, not their own wisdom or status. And importantly, this warning about pride isn't just for intellectuals or leaders.
It applies to everyone.
Absolutely. It's presented as a universal human vulnerability. And this pride, this supposed wisdom,
Leads somewhere specific in verse 23.
directly to idolatry, according to the flow here. They exchange the glory of the immortal God.
For images resembling mortal man and birds and animals and creeping things. Wow, that's quite the exchange. The eternal for the temporary.
A definite downgrade. And the explanations point out this isn't just about literal statues, though it could include that.
You mean like modern idols?
Exactly. One source called spiritual idols, things we elevate above God. Maybe our job, money, family, even our background or heritage. Anything that takes that ultimate place.
Where we put our ultimate trust and devotion.
Precisely. And there was that interesting distinction made between merely having things and holding on to them too tightly.
Right, it's not that possessions are bad, but clinging to them, making them the center. That's the issue.
Yeah, letting them eclipse the eternal. It connects back to Jesus' teaching, that nothing should be more precious than him. The call is to cling to the Creator, not the created things.
So this exchange, this idolatry, has consequences then. Verses 24 and 25 seem to spell those out.
It does. It talks about God giving them up to impurity, to dishonoring their bodies.
It sounds almost like a natural outcome, like letting them follow the path they chose.
That's how our sources connect it. The prideful thinking led to lies. The lies led to idolatry, worshiping the created.
Instead of the Creator.
Right. It boils down to that core exchange. They exchanged the truth about God for a lie and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator.
And then that final line, almost like a defiant affirmation after describing all this. Who is blessed forever. Amen.
Yes. It brings the focus right back. Despite humanity's choices, the Creator remains worthy of worship, blessed forever. It's a powerful contrast.
Okay, so let's just quickly recap the ground we've covered in this deep dive into Romans 1.
Sure.
We saw the argument that God's nature is revealed clearly in creation, leaving people without excuse.
Then the failure isn't lack of knowledge, but lack of honor and thanks, leading to darkened, futile thinking.
Which is rooted in pride, claiming wisdom, but ending up foolish.
And that pride leads directly to exchanging God's glory for created things, for idols, whether literal or spiritual.
Resulting in significant consequences as people follow falsehood rather than truth. That's kind of the core flow.
It really maps out a specific theological argument about revelation, human response, and the consequences of rejecting the Creator. A lot packed into just a few verses.
Definitely. So thinking about these ancient words, maybe a final thought for you listening.
Yeah.
How might our modern lives, our own pursuits, knowledge, success, even good things we strive for, how might we sometimes, maybe subtly, end up exchanging the profound for the fleeting, the Creator for the creation?
It's worth reflecting on. Where do we place our ultimate value? What do we truly worship day to day?
Something to definitely think about.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through Romans. We truly appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more verse-by-verse explorations of this incredible book. We have so much more to uncover together. Get ready for new episodes, diving deeper into the heart of Romans. We can't wait to share these insights with you.